All right, hello, assalamualaikum, and a very good evening to all of you, to all of our viewers in for this video. So for today's video, we are going to talk about social cultural diversity in Malaysian school. So this is going to be our topic for today. So I'm not alone today. So I will be with my friend, Mr. Ananda JISNU. Okay, can you introduce yourself, Mr. Ananda?
Okay, hello everyone, and thank you Muaz for introducing me. So my name is Ananda JISNU NAIR, and you guys can call me Ananda. I'm working in SMK Adiputra in Masjid Anak Melaka as an English teacher over here. So today we are going to discuss about the topic that my friend introduced. We are going to share our points of view, and also at the same time, we are going to have a little healthy argument. I hope you guys will enjoy it and gain some knowledge from it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you also. But before I pursue, I also want to introduce myself. My name is Muaz. I am currently teaching in SMK Taman Pelangi Indah. So yeah, that's all. So let's go to the topic, to our topic, which is the social cultural diversity in a school. So, social cultural diversity in a school refers to the differences in the students' background, not just students, but also the teachers, the staffs, in terms of their backgrounds, cultures, and experiences in the school. So, in Malaysia, as we all know, Malaysia is a multicultural country. So in the schools also there are a mix of students from various and different ethnic groups like Chinese, Malay, and Indian, which are the main three, the big three, or people we call it the big three. And there are various also the in terms of languages, religions, and socio-economic backgrounds. So this diversity creates a unique uh, creates a unique learning environment where students can learn from each other's differences. So meaning that since they have different type of backgrounds, they can learn from each other to gain knowledge from each other to create a healthy union among them in order to be a better in order to make Malaysia a better country. Like that. So moving on to the school context, which is gonna be my school, since my school is can be said as a multicultural school where uh, we have many types of students, many backgrounds of different backgrounds of students. So the school's name will be SMK Taman Pelangi Indah, which is located in Ulu Tiram. So this school is a sekolah menengah kebangsaan which under the sekolah kerajaan, the government school. So okay, we get here we have our principal, which is Mr. Arulanadan, and Laki Satyamurthy. We have the GPKs, which are for Mazida Binti Abdullah for Pentadbiran and Academy. Encik Abdul Aziz bin Abdul Rahman for Hal Ewa Murid, PKM. And the last one is PKCO, is Puan Zarina binti Tukimi. So, just that here is the school context in terms of the student. As you can see, we have like 1,310 Chinese students, which is more than 50% of the total of the students. We have the others, the balance between Malays, which are 454 for Malays, and Indians we have 394, and the others we have 125 students. So not just from the race, we also have the number of the students according to their religious, which we have Islam covers like I would say almost a quarter of the total of the students according to the religious, and the other will be the non-Muslim. So before I before I let my friend talk first, so we will cover many topics actually, which are the social cultural diversity in the Malaysian school, as well as the challenges and the role of teacher regarding this topic. So, okay, continue, Mr. Ananda, for what you want to say.
Thank you, Mr. Muaz. So I'll be starting off with socio-cultural diversity in Malaysian school. Before we go inside that, I want to thank Muaz for sharing his views and ideas previously. To me, it's a very good job. He showed a pie chart which indicates the differentiation and the various numbers of students in the school. So as we are going deep into it, socio-cultural diversity in Malaysian school, Malaysia is a multicultural, multi-diversity, multi-ethnicity country. That is how we grew up in Malaysia after independence, and it is still being practiced until today. So the base for it is education. If we want to maintain that harmonious environment in Malaysia, the base must be very strong, which is education itself. So, for example, in Malaysian schools, we have Malays, Chinese, Indians, and also we have Sabahan, Sarawakians studying together in the same school. But the difference here is the difference itself, I would say, is the strength here. For example, we have Islamic students, we have Hindu students, we have Buddhist students, we have Christians, and also we have um, maybe some atheist students who doesn't believe in God. But despite that fact, studying under the same roof is the strength. So to get them together, to let them study together, let them to know what is going on in the country, what is they should know that the difference between them itself should be an attraction for them to sit down together, share their views, share their thoughts, share their culture, and also embrace and respect each other's culture. So that will eventually develop the students values, behaviors, and also perspective towards towards different culture, towards different religion, towards different race. Because if that doesn't happen, then all those things that our elders preserved previously will not be able to sustain. So we need our country to sustain. We need our country to be harmonious as always. And the 13th May incident shouldn't occur again. So these values should be implemented into our students actually. So what do you think was about it?
Yeah, I think I agree with the point because my school, as I mentioned before just now, my school have different kind of backgrounds of the students. So we have Malay, Chinese, and Indian, and the others. So, like for example, we during the previous celebration, which is the Chinese New Year. Even the Malays also, the Malays not just from the teachers, and we have also from the students. Even the Malays also feel the spirit of the Chinese New Year event where they want to, there are students that join dancing presentation as well as the others presentation like singing and and the others. So for me, it's a good way to to make the how to say it is good, it is great for this event happen because make we can make the school environment to be more harmonious, and then to ensure that, as you mentioned just now, many events like the breakup of the breakup of the harmony among the races in our country. So it is good. So shall we
Yeah,
continue to the next
exactly.
part?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Sorry, give me a minute. I want to turn on my charger.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I'm back.
All right, so let's talk about linguistic diversity in the school. So we have this Malay as our national language, but there are students also who speaks Mandarin. There are also students who speaks Tamil. Then other indigenous dialects like for Sabahan, they have different kind of dialect. For Sarawakian, they have different kinds of dialect. Even we have also the slangs where if a student from Kelantan comes to Johor Bahru to learn there, so there are still slang that the students will learn among of them. So the vernacular schools also exist alongside national schools to create linguistic variation in learning environment. So for this part, what do you think?
Yes.
For the second part, the vernacular schools.
Vernacular schools. Okay, I think the concept of vernacular, we have misunderstood the concept of vernacular schools. Whenever, let's say, for example, let's say whenever in the parliament they speak about vernacular schools, we tend to think they're talking about the government related vernacular schools. But actually, the fact is, the vernacular schools that they are talking about is the independent Chinese schools, which is privatized. Like for example, in the government-based vernacular schools, the Malay language is still being emphasized in their meetings, still being emphasized, still being, I would say, still a mode of communication. And if we are comparing it back to the 1950s and 1960s, where the Indians and Chinese were not able to speak Malay, but compare it to now, I feel that they are way more better in the national language and they are embracing their national language. So, and another thing is, in work that when they come from I wouldn't say the bad, the negative part is when they come from vernacular schools, the tendency to mix, it's quite little. So the Malays will be coming from SK, Chinese from SJKC, Indians from SJKT. So when they study under the same roof, arguments might come up and all those things might tender. But if you ask me, I would say it's a sibling fight. I mean, we are all living in a country, so those simple arguments, I would say a siblings fight. Rather than making it a big issue, we need to not to say cover it up. We need to make it as if we are all one. We are all studying under the same roof. We are all getting the same education. And we just need to focus on what we want in life and how to embrace the national philosophy of education. So that is my point of view.
Yeah, that's what we call that sibling fight is just a normal fight. And then one day during Raya or during any celebration, they will be better. They will be get better again, right?
Exactly. Like, for example, in my school, the majority are Malays. There are only 5 Indian students and 2 Indian teachers, no Chinese students. So sometimes, yes, sometimes the students, and basically we need to understand the background of the students also. So most of my Malay students, they are from the fishing village. They are from a from the kampong area and everything. So they very rarely see Indians because in my area there are very less Indians. So it is very rare for them to see Indians. So I feel that when I joined, it was for them. It was like they had this conception that Indians are dark skinned, Indians are all those things. So I wouldn't say it's a racial slur because they haven't seen anyone with a fair complexion. So these things, when they ask, I never took it as a racial slur. I feel that it's they are ignorant. I wouldn't say innocence or ignorance because they don't know what's going on. And during Deepavali, also some of my students, they came over to the house. They came to my house. They had this all my traditional food, and they even, and to my amazement, they even made friends with neighborhood from my neighbors who are Indians also. So I feel that our kids need to mingle for them to have a broader mindset.
Yes, true. Because children is like what to say, children cannot see colors.
Yes.
Better, but it is better for us to embrace that rather than to instill the the spirit of be on your own, be always your own kind, and then never mingle with another people.
Exactly.
So shall we continue?
Yes.
Okay.
And next will be the socio-economic differences. So this might affect unity too, because we have B40, we have T20, we have different kind of social classes. So some students might come from a very rich background. Some students might come from a very poor background. Some students they might have a very larger exposure on things and experience. Some might not. And some students' parents might have their own business where the students feel that after they study, they can just take over the father's business. So we have different socio-economic differences sitting down in one single classroom to make them. So I feel that to make them united, we should tell them, inform them, or brighten them with the importance of education. Look, your father might be rich, your father might come from this kind of socio-economic background, but end of the day, you need education. We need to tell them the importance of education, the importance of general knowledge, and also let's even another example. Let's say even if this guy he plans to take over his father's business. For example, let's say he's a Chinese boy. He's planning to take his father's business. He need to know the culture of the Malays and Indians also, because he can't be just doing business with the Chinese people only. This is Malaysia, and of course we need to do business with everyone. So he needs to know at least certain amount of their culture, what are the do's, what are the don'ts, the respect on religion and everything, so that he can embrace his father's business. Similar to our other students also. Let's say if they come from a different socio-economic background, imagine they are working. In 10 years' time, they're about to work. So when they go to work, they have to mix around. So let's say if they don't have that basement in school, for sure when they go to work and they wouldn't have that foundation in life. So different economic differences plays a vital role in students to get along. Sometimes some students they might boast that they come from they have visited this place, that place. I have money. Who are you to ask me? So all those things should be neglected. I feel that in school, their financial value, financial status should be put outside before they enter the school. Everyone in the school, you guys are students, you come here to study, you are not working, you don't have a single cent in your pocket. Your job is to learn, your job is to know what is going on. That's all. You want to talk about your cash, you want to talk about your status, you do it outside, but not in school.
Mm-mm. True. But how about the urban and rural disparities in school facilities? Is it
School
going to be impact?
facilities,
Mm-mm. Is it going to
I
impact
feel,
the quality of education?
I feel yes. Because in certain urban schools, yes, we do not have resources. And this year, I think the government has implemented the importance of contemporary pedagogy, the importance of technology to be utilized in school. For example, my school is considered as an urban school. We don't have much technology, but today we had our ladap where our school management, I don't know whether it's PPD or the school management, we have bought a smart TV to be used in classes. So we are evolving at the same time. But if you compare it to places, the city schools, they have much more technology. So the difference between these two, you can clearly see them, especially when it comes to sports tournament. When there's a sports tournament,
Mm-mm.
let's say olahraga or pertandingan bola sepak and all those things, students from my school they tend to feel shy to mix with those city students, because they feel that they are very low
Mm-mm.
in the terms of socio-economic, in the terms of resources. And
Mm-mm.
of course they have relatives. Sometimes when they visit their home, they say my kid is studying in Kuala Lumpur, his class has projector, aircon, and all those things. So some students they might find themselves as timid to share what is going on. So this might create a barrier for them to mix and make friends.
Same. Because my schools, since my school is in urban, and we have enough what do we say, school facilities, enough school facilities. But at the same time, if we don't use the school facilities, then what are the points of that facilities?
Exactly.
Better to give it to the schools that from rural areas, but they know how to apply, how to use the school facilities, to use them for the education, to use them for the students to learn better and enhance to for their future work, right?
Yes, agreed.
So let's talk about next point. Okay, so the next point is this cultural practices and traditions. So as I mentioned just now about the Chinese New Year in my school, so in our school we have various festivals, customs, and traditions celebrated in the schools because we have different types of different a variety of races in from the students, not just from the students, from the staff and also the teachers. So, however, there are different dietary restriction and cultural norms that we need to respect, where we don't want to start something big just from a tiny problem, right? So, uh, the how about your thoughts about various festivals that's celebrated in schools? Is it is it going to be is it good for the students only or also or is it good for the whole community of the school, including the teacher as well as the staff?
Um, I really like your point where you told just now about respect. So I feel it goes back to your question. It should be a community celebration in school. Not only students, it should involve the teachers, AKP, the janitors, the security guards. Everyone should come and embrace that culture. Because the main thing there is, back to your point, respect. If we don't have that respect on another person's culture or religion or race, then the tendency for students to tease and joke among each other will be very very high, which is something we should not encourage. So students should be able to respect each other's culture, give that proper space. And another thing, this one, the second point here, different dietary and restriction and cultural norms need to be respected. This is very important because we are living in Malaysia. We have our national religion, we have our national language, and those things, like for example, Muslims, they don't eat pork. Hindus, they don't take
Yes.
beef. So that respect should be
Beef.
there. Let's say if you are and I certain I think most schools they don't sell it in canteen, right? It's all halal food, right?
Mm-mm,
So that
mm-mm,
is the first step for it. So students should know. Let's say if, for example, in my school, there are very less Indian kids, very less Chinese kids. Let's say when we are having Hari Raya, some students they used to come and ask me, "Sir, why are you not having this the beef?" So it is my job to explain to them
mm-mm,
that I do, based on my religion, I do not take it. So they know it. Next time when they go out, they will practice it. So similar to that, the key point here is respect.
mm-mm. True. Because if there is no respect, then the harmony of the variety of races in the school will be tarnished, right?
Yes, agree
Okay.
to that.
Uh, so let's talk about the next point, which is the implication of educational programs in Malaysian school. So we have variety of programs right in our school. So let's talk about the first one, the curriculum development. So
The-
nowadays we all know we cannot just focus uh, on the usually we focus on the Malay community before. And now it is important to make it inclusive with the Chinese, with the Indians, also from the from the Western usually nowadays, because nowadays textbook, for example, for English textbook, we have this uh related to the United Kingdom's community or United Kingdom environment, where we talk about Manchester railway station and whatsoever. So, do you think that we need to integrate our curriculum with the outside of our country's environment, like UK, in the US, or whatsoever, or the others?
I think a little bit of that should be included for the students' general knowledge, but the major part it should be based on our culture, our Malaysian culture, Malaysian food, Malaysian clothing. For example, today in my class, I was teaching these Form One students. The first unit, it's about myself. So there was this part talking about clothing, and
Mm-mm,
all those clothings inside the textbook, it is based on the European culture. Jumpers, they had this word jumpers, and
mm-mm,
few other westernized based clothing. So some students, I mean, they come from rural area, they don't
mm-mm,
know what is it. But if you tell them, okay, baju Melayu, Cheongsam, Sari, they would understand it better. So it is better for us to include our national concepts into the curriculum, so that, let's say, even if the students are not exposed to another race, at least in the education they have learned something about another race, and that itself will
mm-mm.
create a tendency of tolerance and respect.
Okay, I agree with that, and because it's not just in the English subject or on the bahasa, the language subjects. You also must focus on the history and moral education that need to emphasize focus on the unity, because uh, where where we learn about our past, our history of our country, for example, where we have this just now said what 13 May,
13th May, yes. A
13 May,
yesterday.
where uh, 13 May, where there was a riot that between Malay and Chinese. So that's one, because of that history. Nowadays, the history subject need to focus on emphasizing and highlight the terms of unity, also to encourage the spirit of united among the students.
I agree to that, yes,
So,
especially
mm,
the history subject. We need, before knowing into what happened in other countries and all those other civilization, it is best for each and every Malaysian to know the history of our language. So it should be
mm,
emphasized from the start itself. They should know the history
mm,
of their country. They should know the history of themselves. They should know the how did Malaysia grow to be so big after independence, so that they will learn to love their country, they will learn to love their fellow countrymen, and at the same time they will know on how to react to certain racial slurs. Nowadays people, they
mm,
tend to retaliate, they tend to fight and all those things, which should be put aside, and they should know how to tend they should know how to look at it in a very very matured way, so that will, the curriculum development will really really help them to do that.
true. I agree with your point, because it is important to stay united rather than be breaking up with your own race or your own unique your community, right?
Exactly.
So this part, would you like to explain more about this?
Language policy and instruction, okay, this is actually very very important. Now, if we look at Malaysian context, our national language is the Malay itself. And to me, I feel that it is compulsory for each and every Malaysian to master the Malay language, because that is the main mode of communication in Malaysia. So the thing here is, the mastery of the language itself. So if
Mm-mm.
one is not able to master the national language, then of course it will be hard for him or her to mix around when he or she leaves school. And the second point, the existence of vernacular schools impact language proficiency levels among students. I agree to this 50%, and I agree another remaining 50%, I disagree to this. Again, we can relate this to the and also
Mm-mm.
urban and rural areas. Those vernacular schools in rural areas, they might find it hard to speak the national language. But if you compare it to the urban areas, those students from the vernacular schools, they are able to speak good. They are able to speak good Malay. So this is back again should be reflected to the curriculum development, and again on those teachers itself, and another thing on the mixture or maybe the environment when they come to school, when they come to the secondary school. Uh, I would say the first year in the secondary school, let's say if you are from SJKC or SJKT, you will be in your remove classes, right?
Mm-mm.
So what do they usually study in remove classes?
So what based on from my school what I think is they focus more on the language itself as well as the other subjects like mathematics. So focus on the basic first. If they are to improve, especially in their Malay, in the English. So when they go up to the Form 1, they will be familiar in speaking, not just in speaking, in listening, in all the aspects that the language focuses on right now. So what I think, I think that it is important for the students to learn Malay since, as you mentioned just now, Malay is the primary language of instruction, and not just language of instruction, but most of the countrymen here, most of our citizens here, we talk mostly language and not learning others. Then what's the point, right?
Yeah, I agree to that. And I agree to the point that remove classes is helping to enhance and embrace the language. And another thing is, I feel
Mm-mm,
that from my personal life, from my circle of friends and environment, the Malay language has gone into uh, each and everyone's house, especially the Indians and also the Chinese. Now, basically, at home, the Indians or
mm-mm,
the Chinese, they have started to speak in Malay, and even when Indians speak, let's say for example, when Indians speak Tamil, right, and there's a Malay guy next to him,
mm-mm,
he is able to understand because in one sentence there are about 5 to 6. They imply few Malay words. So those things have been. I would
mm-mm,
say it's a good start. So it's a good start, and
mm-mm,
who knows in 30 to 40 years time, it might be a practice, and everyone would
mm-mm,
understand the language and speak better. Even
mm-mm,
texting,
yes.
like for example, when I text with my friends, sometimes I text in Tamil, English, and sometimes most of the time it's in Malay. So those things has been like a practice for Malaysians already. So in school
Mm-mm,
context, I feel that the remove classes, they are doing a good job. So when those kids enroll in Form 1, they will know at least to speak, and they will speak better, and they can make friends. The first thing for
mm-mm,
unity is making friends. If let's say you are not
mm-mm.
able to make friends, then for sure there will be no unity.
Yes, true. I agree with your point. So let's talk about the next part, which is the inclusive teaching strategy. So just now we talked about the inclusivity in the learning in the curriculum. So what about the teaching strategies where we can see here differentiated instruction to cater to students with diverse linguistics and cultural backgrounds, meaning that uh, different races require different instruction, right? Like for example, we just talked about just now what class did we talk about?
The remove classes.
The remove
Should
classes, the peralihan students. Yeah, the peralihan to the side.
Yes.
Peralihan classes is this this differentiated instruction is very good for them since most of them comes from Chinese background, Indian background. So it is good for them to learn a bit by bit, not just fully stack on them, because that will make the students to feel bored as well as feel less motivated to learn. So that goes for the point number two, which is the use of multi-language and multilingual teaching methods as well as culturally relevant teaching materials, where when we relate to the students' life, we can make them to be more excited to learn, to be more motivated to learn, because when it is related to them, the authenticity of the learning will help them to be, as I said just now, to be more motivated as well as to be more interested to learn rather than just simply listening to the teachers talking about the teachings or whatsoever. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do agree with that. It's actually a very, very good point. In, this includes back to the curriculum development where inclusivity of all, so that the students can indulge themselves and also gain new knowledge to expose themselves better.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's I agree to your point actually.
Oh, I thought you were lagging just now. Sorry. Oh my God. All right. So let's moving on to the next point. So what do you think about this? Okay, would you care to explain about the co-curricular activities and national unity?
Co-curricular activities and national unity, these two things are, I think, which is very, very important, and also something that we can see which is happening now. Like, okay, let's have a,
Mm-mm,
I mean, like for example, an open talk. Nowadays on social media and all those things, people are condemning each other based on race and religion and all those things. But when it
mm-mm,
comes to sports, for example, badminton, football, they get
mm-mm,
together and they
mm-mm,
support their country, which is Malaysia. So these things, I feel that
mm-mm,
sports and extracurricular activities will enhance unity. And another thing we can talk about national service program, which is going to be implemented,
mm-mm.
which is now 35 years old, right? Those who
Yes.
are 35 years old, they need to go again, which I don't know whether it's going to happen or not, but those things, the government, they are trying to make things happen. They're trying to make people united in Malaysia. And of course, the Rukun
Mm-mm,
Negara, all those five principles, they have very, very deep value. This was emphasized after the May 13 riot for the unity of all Malaysians. And again,
mm-mm,
sports, I feel that sports are, it is very, very important. We can see that in our schools. That's the only time where, let's say, when they hug, you can see a Chinese boy hugging a Malay guy hugging an Indian boy. When they have win something, and that's where I think they learn about teamwork and togetherness. So what do you
mm.
think about it?
Regarding the sports, to unite the nations, you mean about that?
Ah, yes.
So what I think, I agree with your point just now, where we talk about sports uniting our our differences, unite the different races. Like just like I still remember the Asian Cup where Malaysia drew with South Korea, where there is this one Chinese guy who sold his bike just to go to Qatar to watch the football. So we can see that the spirit of united when we related to the sports. So I think despite we have this. fighting against not like fighting well, siblings fight like between races like Malays, Chinese, and Indians. But in the end, we are still one. We are still one, not just in sport. We are still one in every aspects, like in celebrations, in the others where there are cases like if a Chinese auntie broke his car on the road, there will be Malays, there will be Indians will help her to ensure that she will be safe and whatsoever, and the others, right?
Yes, exactly. That's what makes us beautiful, I would say. We tend
Mm,
to help each other a lot. Think we can see a lot of those videos on Facebook, YouTube.
mm,
Recently, I think I saw one where this Indian auntie, she was feeding food to this young Malay guy in the hospital because no one came to visit him. So all those things put aside, I mean, putting aside all those differences, and of course,
mm,
sports do play a very, very big part in it. I mean, you
mm,
can we
mm,
can even see that in our own housing estate, in our own taman, where evening, let's say about 5:30, 6 o'clock, you can see a group of young kids, school students, they playing on the field, especially football.
mm,
You can see there will be few Indian kids, some Malay kids,
mm, mm,
and recently I saw one in my taman. This Chinese boy, he's playing sepak takraw, which is something which is very, very rare. He's a form. I spoke to him
mm,
that day.
mm,
He's a form five boy. He is about to complete his
mm,
SPM, and he plays quite good. He's playing sepak takraw. So those things, I mean, it is not in his culture, but he learned it and he's applying
mm,
it,
mm.
and it's very nice. So we can say that sports are uniting people, especially our teenage kids who are not matured
Yeah,
in
when we
terms of
mm,
politics. They tend to listen all kind of
mm,
things.
mm,
So these things
mm, mm,
will definitely unite them.
mm, mm. Like our school, like we have the co-curricular activities like such as kawat kaki, where the students will do kawat kaki, not just Malay who only do them. We also have Chinese and Indian who also join the same kawakaki with together, and in order to make the kawakaki to be better, we don't need to have this united feeling lah. Just we said just now, so they are united in that, and then helps them to make their marching will looks good, and they will get great marks like who's winning the MSSB or the national level of the competition, right?
Yes, I agree. Totally agree to
So,
what you're saying.
mm, that's all for the co-curricular activities. Let's talk about the next part, which is the equity in educational access. So I don't really understand about this part. Would you care to explain to me?
So here we are talking about equity in educational access policies like the Malaysian Education Blueprint. So as we know, the policy of our Malaysian educational blueprint is equity, which means education for
Mm-mm,
all, inclusivity, to make it in simple sense of belonging. So these two things
mm-mm.
are very, very important in our Malaysian education blueprint where we are applying it in our
Yes.
schools. So apart from that, we are not talking about races. We are not talking about. We are not only talking about unity. We are talking about the rural and urban gaps. So we have
Mm-mm,
one system, one educational philosophy, but
mm-mm,
catering for two different locations, two different places. One with the
mm-mm.
one with the resources, one without the resources. So
Yes.
this can be a major difference or distraction between these two places. So some, even the policies, even the laws are same, but certain schools are not allocated with funds. Certain schools are allocated, like
Yes.
what you said just now, in like in your school there are a lot of resources, so it can be
Mm-mm,
shared with the I would say the rural kids, so that they will have the same
yeah.
opportunity and they will have the
Mm-mm,
equal opportunity to learn and explore. And another thing is the special programs which the government introduced for certain kids. For example, the Orang Asli education initiatives. They have their own body to govern it. So they are not
mm,
excluded, they are included in the program. And like what you said just now, kawat kaki. Kawat kaki, those things and all those the hidden curriculum, the hidden curriculum that we have in our schools, it is all,
mm,
I mean, everyone, like what you said just now, like the Malays, Chinese, Indians, they do the kawat kaki together, they do the marching together.
mm,
So each and everyone has the equal opportunity towards education. So that is what
mm.
I feel that this point is trying to share to us. What do you think about it?
Yeah, because I think we cannot just let the urban schools to have the equalities, have this the top tier qualities of in terms of facilities. We need to have the rural also need to have the same opportunity as you mentioned just now for the education for all, right? Since the Malaysian education blueprint highlights the importance of education for all, so I think it is important also to have these equal opportunities in learning as well in teaching for these rural schools or rural people, not just for the urban people. So when we have these equal opportunities, we can create equally level of students in terms of education quality. Okay, not just
Yes.
the urban will have this great the great type of student, top tier student, while the rural just stays in the rural places, never go out from there, never explore the world. It's not fair in terms when we think again about that, right?
Yeah, because one system is catering for two different groups. And let's say if one group's, let's say for the students from the rural area, once they graduated and once they come out from their comfort zone or from their place, there will be a very huge gap between the urban kids and the rural kids. So the rural kids will feel, how am I going to mix with them? How am I going to, I wouldn't
Mm,
say mix, how am I going to compete with them? So, as what you said, it's quite unfair. It should be equally delivered among these two groups so that they
mm.
can enjoy the same percentage of knowledge.
Yes, I agree with it. So let's talk about the next part. So moving on to the our final chapter of this video, which is the roles of teacher on the social cultural diversity in Malaysian school. So we have many rules of the teacher regarding the socio-cultural diversity in our Malaysian school. So the number one is to promote cultural sensitivity and respect. It's not just among students that we need to instill the respect as well as the sensitivity towards other races, but we need to make sure that the teacher also have the respect towards the differences the differences of the cultural background for their students, and this is to ensure that we can avoid biases in the learning and teaching situation, as well as to ensure fair treatment for all students, not just like a Malay teacher only focus on the Chinese and not Chinese students, because this teacher likes to teach the Chinese student, where the Chinese student is more energized to learn. Like unlike the Indians and Malays, just like normal level, not the same and not the same energy level like the Chinese students. So we want to avoid the biases. So do you think like we have this DLP in my school? We have this DLP program where most of the students are Chinese. And do you think that this type of DLP dual language program is only how to say menguntungkan? It's only highlight the Chinese, showing that the Chinese are better than the Malays as well as Indians? Or do you think this is not a type of a bias?
Sorry, your line was lagging. Can you repeat the question again?
Oh my God. Sorry. So do you think, wait, let me check. Okay, so do you think dual language program instill the biases among the students and teachers, where the teacher will be more energized to teach the DLP students, which usually only the Chinese as well as the Chinese, mainly the Chinese class, although they had Malays and Indian in the class. So do you think these DLP classes will instill the biases among the teachers, where they only want to teach DLP, not the others?
I feel that it will create a diversion between, because this dual language program is something, it's like if you don't have A, you have B. If you don't have B, you have C.
Mm-mm,
It's as if you have a
mm-mm,
substitute. So as a teacher, you shouldn't have a substitute. I mean, that is one of our
mm-mm,
role. We should be
mm-mm,
balanced. We should be able to accept everything. We should be able to cater to everyone. So having this dual
mm-mm,
language program, I feel that it might create, because end of the day they're kids, they're school kids, they
mm-mm,
are not matured, and as you said, they might think that, oh, are they better than me?
mm-mm,
Am I that am I not able to compete with them? So those
mm-mm,
thoughts will give them a major impact when they grow up. So I
mm-mm.
feel that these things are, it is way too like being biased, if you ask me. That is my point of view. What do
All
you
right.
think about it?
Yeah, I agree with that point. So in order to remove the biasness, the teacher needs to recognize and respect, from what the point mentioned right now, recognize and respect the students' cultural background as well as their learning backgrounds, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to the next part, which is the implementing inclusive teaching practice. Okay, would you like to explain?
Okay, inclusive teaching practices, I would say it is more to student-centered learning approaches,
Mm-mm,
where they learn. I wouldn't say they learn themselves. They know on what they are supposed to do. They are able to stand alone,
mm-mm,
where the teacher
mm-mm,
act as a facilitator. The teacher only give
mm-mm,
instruction, teacher gives some guidelines, and the students they work on it in a group or maybe individually to complete the task.
mm-mm,
So those things will make a better communication, two-way communication, and
mm-mm,
encourage peer learning, where they tend to ask their friends on what they are supposed to do, and togetherness,
mm-mm,
to work in a group,
mm-mm,
communicating communication skills, all those, it will
mm-mm,
be enhanced.
mm-mm, mm-mm. True, because this collaboration type of learning also needs to we cannot just go for collaboration like Chinese with the Chinese, Malays with the Malays, Indian with the Indians. We need to have these mix up races in the collaboration, right?
Yes, exactly. I agree to that.
Okay, let's move on to the next part, which is the language mediation and support. So this part where we can see here, it helps students to bridge language gaps through bilingual or multilingual teaching approaches, and it also provide additional language support when necessary. So do you think that when we have multilingual teaching approaches, especially in the English language, it will help the students to think that English is not important because the teacher also speak Malay or the teacher also speak Chinese or the teacher also speak Tamil with the students. What do you think about that?
I feel that it it is not a good way to teach. I mean, if you ask me personally, it is not a good way for us to teach them the language, because we are
Mm-mm,
using, either we are using our mother tongue, or it's either we are using the national language to deliver that
mm-mm,
language to them. So
mm-mm,
end of the day, as what you said, they might think, okay, the teacher can speak my language, so they
mm-mm,
will prefer to speak their own language rather than utilizing the English language.
mm-mm,
So if we want to teach them English language, but I know it doesn't work in our schools. It totally
mm-mm,
doesn't work in our schools, but it will be better if we can use one language, which is the English language, to teach them
mm-mm,
English, and at the same time, they speak English in class, and they
mm-mm.
create their togetherness using that English language in terms of
Yeah.
English language subject. I feel that would be better.
Mm-mm,
And
mm-mm.
of course, there
I
should be
also
some
agree.
component too.
Mm-mm. I also agree with your point. So moving on to
Next point.
our next point, which is encouraging critical thinking and open discussion. So would you like to explain? Would you like to explain lah about this point?
Case, this is like this will help them to be more matured and broaden up their mind. So open discussion on
Mm-mm,
certain things. Let's say it can be on anything. It can be on a theme. It can be on a topic. It can be
mm-mm,
on races, religion, or whatever is it. But open discussion will help students to understand better, to respect each other. Like the
mm-mm,
example I gave you just now. Like my kids,
mm-mm,
they tend to think that Indians are all dark. So whenever they say me the first
mm-mm,
question, "Sir, kenapa? Why do you look fair? Are you from Pakistan? Are you from Nepal?" They're asking me such things.
mm-mm,
So it's my job to make them understand that there are certain
mm-mm,
groups. I mean, not everyone looks dark, not everyone looks fair. So
mm-mm.
it's basically I'm an Indian, but I look different. That doesn't mean that I'm not an Indian. So it is my job to
Yes.
tell them. But if I stop them, hey, you can't be asking that. That's very sensitive.
Mm-mm,
Then it will
mm-mm,
be like it will be stopping their curiosity to know better.
mm-mm. Yes. Yeah, I think it is important to encourage them to think critically about other races also to improve their nation to enhance their national identity, which is one of the main thing in our KPPB or PDCL, pedagogical
PCDL.
PCDL. I'm so sorry, PDCL. Okay, so I think it is important because there is one of the six C's, right? The six C's, which is
Yes.
the
Citizenship.
citizenship. Yeah. So we also need to address the stereotypes that I just mentioned just now, where not all Indians are dark. There are also we have also the fair Indians. We have also the dark Malays, the fair Malays. We even have the Pan Asian Malays, right?
Yes.
Mm-mm. So
I
it is
think that is
important to. Mm,
that is something like even that happens in the Malay community, in Chinese community. Some Malays they
mm-mm,
look dark, some Malays they look fair, some Malays they look yellowish like Chinese.
mm-mm,
So those things it
mm-mm,
is
mm-mm,
important for our kids to know that. So so that when they leave school, they
mm-mm.
do not ask these things again, which might create a problem.
Yeah, because there are also changes, right?
Yes, we have Chindians, we have
Mm-mm.
like in Malacca, there's an Indian group. We call them Chiti, where they have
Oh.
their own. It's called Chiti, not the Cheti, not the Along Cheti. So there's an Indian group where it's mixed Malay culture and Chinese culture in the Indian culture.
I
I
see.
think kaum peranakan, we call them peranakan,
Oh, I see.
our
Yes, yes,
peranakan in Malacca.
yes.
So though
I see, I
so our
see.
students need to know that. Even my students in Malacca, they don't know about it.
So it is important for them to know to improve to know that thing because we want to improve on our improve of the student improve the students knowledge on the cultural diversity as well as their national identity, right?
Yes.
So let's moving on to the next point, which is to engage with parents and communities. So it is important for the teachers to work with parents and community leaders to ensure the student the support of the students' education needs. And one of the ways is to organize cultural exchange programs where the students can be exchanged to other schools or even international schools. We have also the community-based learning initiatives. So, which do you actually been in a community-based learning initiative? Because I this is my first time hearing this word, reading this word, this term.
Sorry,
Do
your line
you
went
do
lagging
you, have
again. Sorry.
Okay, I'm so sorry. So have you ever been in this community-based learning initiative? Because this is my first time seeing this mentioned in my life lah. I never heard
Okay.
that because my previous previous education background mostly with all Malays. So I never been exposed to this kind of initiatives.
Okay, like for example, I have been exposed with multiculturals ever since I'm a kid. I grew up
Mm,
in a town where I would say it is the population is equal between the Malays, Chinese, and
mm-mm,
Indians, and it's a very very small town. So basically, we
mm-mm,
studied together, we played together, and during my time when I was
mm-mm,
in school, that I have stayed in some of my Malays and Chinese friends' house. They have stayed in my house.
mm-mm,
We used
mm-mm,
to we used to eat at their places. They used to eat at our places. So I would say I grew
mm-mm.
up in a very multicultural community.
I see.
So and another thing I feel is very important for the parents and communities to encourage that also. Rather than looking at the
Mm-mm,
differences, they should be able to accept the differences. So for them
mm-mm,
to develop the socio-cultural society, and
mm-mm,
also in terms of education. No, we
mm-mm,
teachers teach, we emphasize, we implement all those values in them. But it is also the parents'
mm-mm,
duty to enhance it. It is not totally the teacher's duty to do everything. The parents should
mm-mm,
play their role, and also the community. Even if the parents play
mm-mm.
the role and the community doesn't play the role, then again it's a disaster. So all
Yes,
of us
true.
should work together.
Yes, I agree with your point. All of us need to play. We not just the teachers. We have the parents and communities need to play the same role.
Yes, agree to that.
Okay, so we have the conclusion. Okay, in conclusion, this Malaysia sociocultural diversity presents both challenges, just we discussed just now, as well as opportunities in education, where schools plays a crucial role in fostering national unity as well as for social cohesion. So, teachers also must be adaptable, culturally competent, and committed to inclusivity to ensure effective learning for all students. Okay, so Ananda, Mr. Ananda, do you want to add anything? Add something?
Okay, I feel that all those whatever we have discussed just now, it leads to we might have a different ideas and all those things, but again,
Mm-mm,
we want one thing, which inclusivity, equity, and the unity in education.
mm-mm,
So everyone gets
mm-mm,
to know each other, so that it will make
mm-mm,
our beloved country a better place. So it all starts from home, it all starts from school. So as teachers, it's
yes.
our duty to promote that and to make them
Mm-mm,
understand, to make them learn, so that they will
mm-mm,
be a better citizen according
mm-mm,
to like what you said just now to the PCDR. So they will have that
mm-mm,
value inside them when they grow up, when they
mm-mm,
enter into society, when they start
mm-mm.
working, and when they make their own families. So these
Yes,
values
I
will enable them.
yeah, I think I agree with your point. It is very important for the students or we call it children lah to not see colors. It is important for that because if we instill hatred among the race, then it will be disaster for our future also as a country.
Exactly, agree to that. It's one of
Okay.
our job to help them. No, I mean to make them preserve this country, so that
Mm-mm,
it will stand united as always.
mm-mm. We won't then our ancestors, what we call it, usaha will not be waste away lah because of that,
Yes,
right?
agree.
So
I
I
agree
think
to your
that's
point.
all for. Yeah, I so I so I think that's all for our video today, our discussion today. So thank you, Mr. Ananda, for joining the discussion for today's video.
Thank you too, Muaz. It was
Okay.
nice. It was a good chat with you.
Yeah, it was a great chat with you also. So I think that's all from our video today. So thank you for watching again for our viewers here. And
Also,
we
not
will
to
see you
forget,
in the
let's thank
next.
Puan Julia also. Let's
Oh,
thank
Puan Julia
Madam Julia.
also. Yeah, thank you to our beloved Madam Julia for helping us to be here talking about social cultural diversity in Malaysian school. So I think that's all for our video today. We see you in the next video.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Good night. Bye.
Okay, good night, Malaysia. Bye bye.